Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, double honor to the elders of GMS, and shalom to the brothers out there that's pushing the truth and truth is sincerity. My name is Amna Wala, and we're going to continue on with this showing in Acts 17th chapter. We're going to read we at the 26th verse. Hopefully we wrap this up. I'm going to read, it says, this is the Apostle Paul speaking to the Epicureans and the Stoics. He says, and have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on the face of the earth. Well, first, let's deal with that. This is 2 Esdras 6:54, because the Apostle Paul just said, have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on the face of the earth. This is the book of 2 Esdras 6:54. It says, and after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people whom thou hast chosen, which is talking about the Israelites. So that right there we know that the Heavenly Father, that he made of all nations that he made of one blood all nations of men, because we all come of Adam. Which through Adam he had the chosen line, which went down to Noah, after who repeopled the earth. So we understand that. So it says, and have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on the face of the earth. Let's deal with that. Let's deal with that in the aspect of the Stoic philosophy, right? This is this web page here, wiki source, Moral Letters to Lucilius, letter 95, and this is line 52. It says and all that you behold, that which comprises both God and man, is one. We are the parts of one great body. Nature produced us related to one another, since she created us from the same source and to the same end. She engendered in us mutual affection and made us prone to friendships. She established fairness and justice according to her ruling. It is more wretched to commit than to suffer injury. Through her orders, let our hand be ready for all that needs to be helped. So you understood it said we are all parts of one great body, and it said nature produced us related to one another. So it said we are all part of one great body, and nature has produced us related to one another. Well, for one, that's against the scripture in one sense. That's against scripture because let's get the book of Deuteronomy 7:6. Deuteronomy 7 chapter and 6 verse, it says, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we know right there, the Heavenly Father didn't create everybody the same. Now, it is true that we all come from Adam, to all the way down to the line of Noah and his sons. So we all do come of one blood. But in the Stoic philosophy, they're saying we all part of one great body, but we all related to one another. We all not related to another in the aspect of the Heavenly Father made everybody the same, but we all related to each other in the aspect of we all come of one blood. That's what the Apostle Paul said what he said. And that statement here of Stoicism goes back to a Stoic philosophy called cosmopolitanism. We're going to deal with that. This is a webpage called Through a Blog Darkly. Lower, and you'll see it in the post-production. It says Stoicism, cosmopolitanism, and oikiosis. See what that means. What it says is a word that has when you type it in on Google, it says oikiosis is a word that has no fully satisfactory translation. It's a technical word in Stoicism. But going back to the webpage, it says Stoics are not known for their contribution to political philosophy, and their economic insight is almost non-existent. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, Zeno Citium, did write a version of Plato's Republic outlining the ideal state from a Stoic viewpoint, but apart from some references found in later writers. The work is lost to the ravages of time, but one important and under-recognized aspect of Stoic political thought is cosmopolitanism. And it tells you, it says the polis, city-state. Classical Greece was divided into polis, city-states, with each polis having its own form of government. Some city-states like Corinth were ruled by kings. Some like Sparta were ruled by a small group of men. Others like Athens experimented with new forms of government. This arrangement was viewed with approval by prestigious philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, who believed the man identified himself first and foremost, and that its destiny was tied to its fellow inhabitants and the common good of the city. So it said Philosophers like Plato and Aristotle believed that a man would identify himself first and foremost as a citizen of a particular polis, meaning they believe that a man would identify himself as a citizen of what particular city, state he was from, right? When you go down, it says citizens of the world, because it says cosmopolitanism. You know, cosmos in the Greek is world. So cosmopolitanism would be like a citizen of the world. It says citizens of the world. Stoics emphasize the cosmos, which they view as a single living entity of which we are all part and united to each other by our shared humanity. He said we are all the parts of one great body. Because it said Stoics emphasize the cosmos, which they view as a single living entity of which we are all a part and united to each other by our shared humanity. Hence, Stoic philosophers were fond of proclaiming the cosmos is my polis, meaning the world is my city. And it says, echoing Diogenes the Cynic when he proclaimed, I am a citizen of the world. So they believe that we were all, though we all came from this great divine fire, this great logos that they called the creative fire, we were all part of one body. Okay? We were all part of one city, a cosmopolis, a world city, citizen of the world. But for Diogenes, being a citizen of the world meant rejecting duties and responsibilities traditionally expected of citizens in the classical Greek state. Stoics disagree with Diogenes, and to fully understand the concept of their philosophy, oikeiosis. Oikeiosis has no literal translation into English, see? That's why you couldn't find it. But it says as love of self. The Standard Encyclopedia prefers the term natural attachment to what is appropriate. And I believe I may mention that, I looked it up and it said appropriation. It can mean not only what is suitable, but also what is akin to oneself, standing in a natural relation of affection. As children, we are naturally drawn towards food and warmth. When we mature, we are drawn towards human companionship because humans are a social animal, and we discover other pursuits appropriate to our nature, as both individuals and as humans. Thus, one human may be drawn to writing or philosophy or to a sport or business. Alright, it says, this is a contrast to the modern fascination with finding yourself, for the Stoic life will teach you what you need to know. We are now in the position to understand cosmopolitanism from a Stoic viewpoint. If mind is common to us, then also the reason whereby we are reasoning begins is common. If this be so, then also the reason which enjoins what is to be done or left undone is common. If this be so, law is also common. If this be so, we are citizens. If this be so, we are partakers in one constitution. If this be so, the universe is a kind of commonwealth. See what that commonwealth means. Look that up. When we look at commonwealth on Wikipedia, it says commonwealth is a traditional English term for a political community founded for the common good. So now you understand that it's dealing with a community, being one community. That's from Marcus Aurelius, who was a Stoic. As social creatures, we are naturally drawn to other humans, regardless of their location. As rational creatures, we understand we are all part of the cosmos, the world, united together by virtue of our common humanity. As citizens of the cosmos, we have duties and responsibilities to each other for the common good. Thus, we must serve each other. The Stoics, though you must serve each other, like look out for each other, right? Because we're all supposed to be citizens of one city, citizens of the world. It says the Stoics believed the best path to serving each other was either through political engagement. Remember that, political engagement, engaging in politics, right? Political engagement, or as a tool to teaching virtue to others. It is easy to see why Stoic cosmopolitanism flourished through the Roman Empire that united huge territory under a single political system, because they believed that they were what? Citizens of the world. So they united different territories under one political system. And the relevance of Stoic cosmopolitanism to modern institutions like the United Nations and the European Parliament. Now, here's another webpage called the AustralianReview.net. I'm gonna go right to the point that I'm gonna get to. There's a lot of information here, so I'm gonna write down to it. You'll see the where I'm at in the post-production. It says, let me see if I can find exactly who this person is. Because it starts off with somebody's name. See if I can type it up on the webpage and pop up. Alright, Christopher Brooke, who's a writer of a philosophic pride, Stoicism and political thought from Lipsius to Rousseau, if that's how you pronounce it. But let me go right down to the point that I want to get to. Okay, it says, Brooke also makes good work of the replay of the ancient battle between Epicureanism and Stoicism that has re- reverberated throughout the history of Western political thought since the Renaissance. The Stoics and Epicureans were contemporaries and obdurate rivals. The Stoics disliked the individualism, keep that in mind, and hedonism of the Epicureans. Of course, they're gonna not agree with the individualism and hedonism of the Epicureans, because they believe that we're what of a world city. So why would you think about being an individual if we all supposed to be in a cosmopolitanism like world of one city? Which that could show you who could agree with us being all from one blood. We all come from one blood, which is Adam, but the Stoics believe that we all come from one creative fire. Therefore, we all of one city. Therefore we are all come from the same place. Therefore, meaning that we all should be in one world, one city. The individualism, hedonism of the Epicureanisms, and were contemptuous of their view that the only rationale for refraining from crime was to avoid anxiety about detection. The Stoics also despised the Epicureans' refusal to get involved, to take responsibility for the welfare of others, and exemplified in their avoidance of politics. So that's all we need to get. They didn't like the fact that the Epicureans had a refusal to take responsibility for the welfare of others, and they didn't like that they had a avoidance in politics. So now we're gonna get into the hedonism of the Epicureans. This is www.spring.org. It says hedonist philosopher Epicurus was right about happiness mostly. I'm gonna jump right down to the point. Epicurean hedonism. Epicurus was a hedonist, but not in the popular modern sense. Now we tend to associate hedonism with excessive pleasure seeking or with refined sensual pleasure. But you can look that up. If you just type in hedonism, Hedonism, and you put it on Google, and see all the pictures of damn near half naked bitches and damn near half naked niggas partying, the pool parties, getting drunk, all type of freak shit. That's basically what it is. You know? That's basically what it is. Cause I remember I went to a soul food spot. You know, they have a little fly. You always got some damn parties going on, right?
Oh yeah.
Not soul food spot. West Indian spot.
Yeah.
You know. They got a damn party going on, and then I was like, you know what? Let me look and see what the flyer said. I'm looking, cause it's right above the garbage. We throw something out the garbage. So once you coming in and leaving out, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in, I don't pay no attention. I get my phone, I'm leaving out. Look, it said hedonism. It said hedonism.
Oh shit.
It just said hedonism.
Oh, wow.
And I see it there for months, but I never really paid no attention. You know what I'm saying? Hedonism. What the fuck, hedonism? You know what I mean?
God.
That's why this fucking place gotta go, man. I got a scripture for that real quick. Hedonism with excessive pleasure seeking or refined sensual pleasure. The scriptures condemn. Let me just bring up the scripture, man. This is Romans 13 and 11. And now that knowing the time, that now is high time to wake out of sleep. And now is our salvation nearer than we believed. For the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light, which is the scriptures, the knowledge. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not rioting. Let's look up rioting, see what that says in the Greek. We're on the blue letter, of course.
Strong's G 2970. Komos. Komos.
Rioting in the Greek is komos, which means a revel or carousal. A nocturnal and riotous procession of half-drunken and frolicsome fellows who have supper parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus or some other deity, and sing and play before houses of male and female friends. Hence, generally of feast and drinking parties that are procreated till late at night and indulge in revelry. That's these niggas, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You gotta like, get together, getting all drunk, but it's in the street drunk.
Pasta.
Yeah, pasta shit.
I put
You
it
know?
in post-production.
Yeah, you know, damn DVDs, you know?
Yeah.
Dancing out there in the street for days and shit.
Non-stop.
This is, I'm not gonna go to drunkenness. I'm gonna go to chambering. Chambering in the Greek is, let's see what that is.
Strong's G 2845. Koite. Koite.
Chambering is koite in the Greek, which that's adultery. From now, yup, a place for laying down, resting, sleeping in, a bed, couch, the marriage bed of adultery, the marriage bed of adultery, cohabitation with lawful or unlawful sexual intercourse. They be having them damn orgies and shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, most I gotta destroy this goddamn society, man. And this last one.
Strong's G 766. As El Gaya. As El Gaya.
As El Gaya. Unbridled lust, excess, lasciviousness, wantonness, outrageousness, shamelessness. And you know what you could do? You could have a picture of them damn pasta DVDs up, and you can go on Google, type in hedonism, and look at pictures of jakes and crackers and all that. You know what I'm saying? Try to get some land child up in there. Carnival, Labor Day parade, man. Most I gotta destroy the society, man. And you had Paul was talking to Israelites right there. So you know Jake was doing that back then, he's doing it again now.
It's like in the time of Moses when they was partying.
Yep.
It was just like, there was a war going on.
See?
They was fucking partying.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they was partying when he came down off the mount.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Joshua said that. Joshua like, it's a war.
This is yeah, he said it sounded like it was a war.
Mm-hmm.
He said it sounded like it was a war down there.
Yeah.
You know? But it says Epicurean hedonism. Epicurus was a hedonist, but not in the popular modern sense. Now we tend to associate hedonism with excessive pleasure seeking or with refined sensual pleasure. And the scriptures speak about that in James. It says what Epicurus meant though, this is what he meant by hedonism. What Epicurus meant though was something more subtle. He certainly didn't think that the road to happiness was paved with luxury or material wealth. What he emphasized was the idea of being untroubled. It says Epicurus thought pleasure and pain were at the center of human morality. His view was that pleasure and pain are so important to human existence that all our actions are governed by seeking pleasure and trying to avoid pain. Epicurus also saw the absence of pain as pleasure